Here's another turntable project. This is a Harmon Kardon T60. I believe these were from the early 80s. There's a few pieces missing. I do have the dust cover, and this was $12.49, but since I bought it on Senior Tuesday, it was $9.37. So a few things missing. Head shell is gone, of course, no cartridge. And the platter mat is missing. Outside of that, man, of course, there's no belt on it, but you wouldn't expect. But everything else seems to be there, so I'll buy a few parts for this thing and see if I can get it running. And then I've got room right out here in the garage for a turntable, right where that subwoofer is sitting. So if I get this running, I think that's where it's going to go. It looks like this Harmon Kardon turntable is going to take a little bit more work than I thought. It's the T60. I did pick up a little belt for it and got that strung around the motor there. And I found a head shell for it. And I went ahead and measured all these wires back here to the interconnects, the RCA jacks, to make sure that I was getting good contact, and I am. So that's going to work out. I did find out that the that dust cover that came with it is not for this turntable. These are the wrong spacing on the hinges and the wrong style, so that's okay. Doesn't come with a dust cover. Can make that work. Alright, the problem here is right now that I see is when I plug this thing in and turn it on. The platter doesn't turn. If you get it turning, it'll go, but it turns at the wrong speed. Set at 33, it turns at about maybe 28 RPMs, and at 45 it turns at maybe 30 or something like that. So that's a bit of an issue. Let me bring up my app here and I'll show you. Okay, that's at 33 and it reads about 29. And I've let it run for half an hour just to see if it needs to break in a little bit, but it's not turning any faster. And at 45, it speeds up a little bit, but it's up to 39, so it's still a little under speed. It seems to be getting better, so maybe I just need to take it apart, lubricate the motor, check things out underneath, and see what we've got. But I think I can get it working. Alright, it seems like when you run this thing, the motor speeds up and slows down. That's the motor, top of the motor there. But the platter doesn't. So I pulled the spindle out, and this is what it looks like. And it does have a little thing here that seems pretty, I don't know, pretty gooey. So what I think I'll do is just go in there and clean that out and re-lubricate it and see if that platter turns a little bit better. Okay, I used a few Q-tips and some alcohol to clean out that spindle well, and I cleaned up the spindle itself. So I'll put just a couple drops of 3-in-1 oil on that and drop it back in. See if I get to spin a little bit better. While working on this Harmon Kardon T60 turntable, I determined that the little platter servo motor was bad. So, since I couldn't find one anywhere, I decided to take this one apart and see what I can do. So to get it apart, there's just you got to unsolder it and bend all these little tabs back so that you can get this piece out. This is a piece that you solder the connections to. And I don't know if you can see those, but right there, I don't know if it's going to focus well enough, but those are the little brushes. So what I did is clean those up just a little bit with some deoxit, and I kind of bent them so that they are going to contact the little rotor part here better, which is right here. This stuff is also small, it's really hard to work on. But that big thing on the end here is part of the servo reluctor or something like that. And then way down in there is the where the brushes run against. So I'm going to see if I can oil up this motor, put it back together, and see if it'll work. Well, I got the motor disassembled, reassembled, and put back in the turntable. And it seems to work, and it's accurate. There's approximately 33, and the quartz lock loop button's coming on. Hit the 45, it runs up. Pretty close to 45. I'm not sure how accurate my little app is, but there's an obvious problem. Turntable's turning backwards. So apparently I did some kind of a boo-boo when I reassembled that motor. So I guess I'm going to take it back apart again and figure out what happened. Alright, so to get this turning correctly, I just reversed the polarity on the motor. Even though I had it hooked up correctly, or the way it was originally, I must have reversed something internally, but now by swapping the polarity on the motor, it's turning in the right direction. See, it's a little slow. That's supposed to be 33, and I'm getting phase lock. So maybe that's a little out of adjustment. And then here's 45. And we'll get about 44 point something. And the phase lock is also done. So I don't know if this will show up on the video, but with a little strobo disc, I can see it's not on quite. So that's at the 45, so it's inner ring, and you can see it creeping, or at least I can with my naked eye. At 33, we shoot the outer ring stationary, and it's creeping too. So let's do some, there's a couple of adjustment pots I believe on the phase lock loop board, so I think we can tweak those to get this thing running exactly the right speed. So to adjust the quartz lock mechanism, what you're supposed to do is set the speed control to the middle position, put it on 33, turn the quartz lock off, and then there's a couple little small pots down on a board underneath that you use to set the stroboscope to stop. Now that board is down here, and here's the two little pots. So I don't think I'm going to be able to film this thing, except, yeah, maybe I'll try to figure out a way to do it. But anyway, got to reach under there and adjust while you look up here and look at that. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. Alright, well, I had to do that adjustment off camera. But basically what you do is you set this at the center position and then adjust the two pots down there so that you're right on the right speed, so that you got plus and minus control. So right now I'm pretty much centered, and this is with the phase lock loop off. So there's 45. It's pretty close. I can tweak this up or down. There's 45. And then 33. 33 and a third. A little fast. We can turn it down a little bit. There we go. Getting pretty close there. But now when you put a phase lock on, you can see it slows down a little bit on both of these speeds. That should be 45. Turn phase lock off, and get it closer to 45. Phase lock on, drops a bit more. So what they say to do is, if that happens, what you're supposed to do is just replace the motor pulley if it's not within spec, which, yeah, I'm not going to replace the motor pulley. I'll just use the manual adjustment for this, since it's just going to go out here in the garage. But it's pretty accurate. It should work for me for out here. Now the Harmon Kardon T60 turntable from, what is it, I think the 80s. The restoration is complete. So I picked up one of these cork double-sided mats to kind of replace the one, the platter mat that was missing. And to the head shell that I had to also buy. I also bought an Ortofon red cartridge, which is a cartridge that I like a lot. So those are right about $100 on Amazon Prime. This is about 20 bucks, and I think the head shell was like 23, and then the turntable itself was $9. So for 120, 40, 149, 150 bucks, got a nice vintage, very cool Harmon Kardon turntable to go with my garage stereo system. In the garage. So let me put a little record on there, and we'll give a quick demonstration of it. Okay, so this is Lloyd Rowland, In Dreams. Let's just put it here on one of its first track. Forever. My love will be there. Honey, I love you. Honey, I need you. And I'll show you what happens here at the end of the record. If I run out, it does this thing where it just kind of lifts the arm and turns off the motor. So that's why they call it. We have the name for this, auto lift turntable. So that's what it does at the end of the record. And you have to push it back here and re-cue for the next one. So that'll complete the restoration of this turntable, and hopefully it'll work for many years out here in the garage, and continue to sound good and work well.